My hair is super spooky. I am digging it. It's like half this orangey red-ish pink and then like half purple. The pink and the orangey back over here again. I mean, none of it was purposeful, but who cares? Whether you're in recovery from substance abuse, are only just entering the world of sobriety, or consider yourself to be somebody who is sober curious, you might be able to benefit from celebrating sober milestones, or what some people know as sober birthdays. Okay, so you might find it cheesy or unnecessary to celebrate time spent sober. I know I did at some point in life. So in this video, I'm going to look at the actual reasons we celebrate time spent sober and some things we maybe didn't know about this sort of strange and unique activity or tradition that is very unique to the sober and recovery communities. First, I'm going to tell you about how I went from really loving sober celebrations to really hating them, and then growing a whole new fondness and appreciation for them. Next, I'm gonna dig into any empirical evidence about how celebrating sober milestones can potentially enhance our sobriety. Finally, I will leave you guys off with a few tips for celebrating your next sober milestone, no matter where you are on the sobriety spectrum. So make sure to stay tuned until the very end, or else nothing will actually happen, but. Hello everybody, my name is Allie K. Campbell. This is my YouTube channel. It is dedicated to getting real, having fun, and living sober in no particular order. Every Wednesday, I upload a new sobriety tip as a part of my Sobriety Toolbox series. That is what you're watching right now. If you would like to get a new sobriety tip for your sobriety toolbox every week, every Wednesday, you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button for this channel. Before I get into the ins and outs of sober milestones, I want to thank all of the people over on my Patreon, because without them, these videos would not be made possible. Well, they would be possible, they would still exist, but they wouldn't be as good and they wouldn't be as frequent. You guys are rock stars. Thank you so much, Anna, Kristen, Naomi, Tess, Rachel, Beth, Chris, Samantha, Lauren, Pam, and Tom. You want to get shout outs in my videos, or you're interested in the other perks that come with being a patron of this channel, go ahead and click the link for my Patreon in the description of this video. All right, let's get to the show. When I first got sober, I loved sobriety milestones. I was in a 12-step program at the time, very big on sober milestones, in most 12-step programs at least. Most of them also usually celebrate with coins. Let me show you. Got a whole little bag of them. See that? Most of them like have your sobriety milestone on it. Yeah, here's my 3-year coin. So cute. Mwah. I love tangible rewards. I love coins. Hey, a little change never hurt nobody. I love having an excuse to talk about myself. And usually at 12-step meetings, when you're celebrating a sobriety milestone, you get up and you make this little speech, and it's super cute. And I like when people have no choice but to clap for me. So then as I moved on in my sobriety, I went to different alternative methods of recovery, different programs, kind of shied away from the 12-step world, kind of started hating the idea of sober milestones, mostly because they were very connected to the idea of counting days for me. So I relapsed at one point, which was whatever. But what really bothered me and got to me and made me just be like, what the f is the point of celebrating time spent sober, was I spent a couple of months waitressing at a diner in North Jersey, and it was the go-to 12-step diner. After the meeting, all the old timers, meaning the people there who had decades of sobriety, would come there and hang out and do whatever and fellowship and stuff like that. Listening to how these men spoke, what they spoke about, and how they treated me as a woman, as a person in the service industry, as just a person, really, was so disgusting. And I was just so turned off by it. This is what 20, 25, 30 years of sobriety looks like. Like, what is there to celebrate? Time is meaningless. The only thing that they've done good was stop drinking. They're still assholes. So yeah, I just was definitely on like a self-righteous kick at that point, but it did really bother me. So I kind of just like shied away from even like celebrating my milestones around that same time. Further like solidified my resentment towards 12-step program, which I am working on. Okay, so just let me be. And then there was also like this thing that went through my head when I did celebrate milestones. What are we celebrating? We're celebrating the fact that I haven't blacked out from alcohol to the point of being put in the hospital and having my stomach pumped in a year. Like, You're not supposed to do that stuff in the first place. I was just missing the point. It wasn't until kind of recently that I started rethinking what sober milestones mean and having a different or an updated view, I guess, on them. Once I started being more public about my sobriety, making this channel, being on different social media platforms, and seeing other people through their social media platforms celebrating their milestones, even though they weren't even a part of 12-step program, it gave me a new appreciation for it. I realized just how helpful it really can be, and it gave me hope to see people with multiple years. It gave me hope to see people with 90 days. All right, this is awesome. Like, I like this again. Oh, I also hadn't seen those old white guys for a minute, so that distance probably helped a little bit. And I just went back and forth on it for a couple of years, and like, that's what you get for being a Libra, Sun, Gemini, Moon. Like, nothing is consistent. Let's get to the science. Let's get to the evidence portion of this. Science! So my curiosity was obviously still piqued about why sober milestones, why are they a thing? Or is there any actual evidence behind like why this is something that we all just kind of like do without, is it worth doing if it's something that you don't do? And is it worth continuing to do if you already do it? Obviously, aside from the very, very blatant reasons as to why we would celebrate a milestone of sobriety, because you've done something hard and good job. You know, like I want to like look even deeper than that. And according to the research I found, there actually is a lot more to it than just, hey, good job, you didn't shoot heroin through your toes for 8 months. According to an article in Greater Good magazine via the Greater Good Center for Science, active celebration involves savoring, basically a fancy way of saying consciously enjoying the moment. In this case, a period of time spent sober, as well as the moment that you're commemorating that time spent sober. According to them, savoring leads to stronger and better relationships, improved mental and physical health, and being able to find more creative solutions to problems. All things that are arguably really positive for people who are trying to stay sober. Make sense? I think so. Agree with me. Now let's switch gears and take a look at how celebrating milestones can actually help us to live in a place of gratitude, albeit temporary. It's nearly impossible to like not feel gratitude when you're like making yourself consciously aware of a period of time spent not drinking and drugging, when drinking and drugging was such a big part of your life at some point, and it may very well have caused a lot of negatives for you. A feeling of gratitude that those things don't have to be a part of your life anymore. Usually when we celebrate, people are congratulating us, which also might very well trigger the thought of, hey, wow, check out all these people on my corner, like supporting me and like, you know, rooting me on. Like, kind of hard not to be grateful for that stuff too. I'm not saying it's across the board an easy thing to experience gratitude, because it's actually been historically very difficult for me, especially if you're prone to like clinical depression, which I am. Generally speaking, when you're surrounded by people who care about you, who are focusing on a major accomplishment that you've done, it's a pretty good chance that you'll find yourself in a place of gratitude, at least for a couple minutes while you're celebrating. According to Amy Marin, who is a psychotherapist and author, and her article, which is titled 7 Scientifically Proven Benefits of Gratitude, being grateful can actually open the door to more relationships. So it offers us opportunities. It improves our physical and our psychological health, similar to savoring. It enhances our ability to be empathetic. It reduces aggression, and it actually helps our self-esteem. Not to mention, it also helps us sleep better, which again, all of these things are wonderful for your sobriety. And even if not, like, it's just good for anybody. Celebrate your wins, feel grateful in the process, and then you get like a bunch of like mental and physical benefits. That's a sweet deal. Finally, by celebrating our sober milestones, we give ourselves something to look forward to in the future, whether we're completely aware of it or not. It almost acts as a method of accountability. This might be why in 12-step programs, the celebration dates are like relatively short between each other. In NA, it goes from like 24 hours to a month to 3 months to 6 months to 9 months, a year, and then they do 18 months and then A is a little different. Other programs might like have a little variation on it as well. Generally speaking, like your next milestone while you're in the first year mark isn't that far away. It's like, all right, I've already gotten 3 months under the belt, like what's another 3? The future isn't super close, but it's not super far away either. When we're celebrating where you are on your sobriety journey, like in front of people, it makes me think of what I found out was the Hawthorne effect, coined by Henry A. Landesterer, back in 1950, found that people actually do a better job on whatever they're doing if they're being observed by others. And like that makes a lot of sense. At the same time, of course, that can also be very unhealthy depending on the situation. Like the first thing that comes to mind for me is like a micromanager in an authority position. Like that's not gonna be effective. Might just be doing better because you know you're being watched. When you know that there are multiple people who are keeping track of your sobriety, know of your milestones, know of your last one, know of your next one, it is kind of like this feeling like, oh, like people are watching, I don't want to let people down. In terms of the Hawthorne effect and sober milestones, it's a positive thing. I find it to be a positive thing. I'm sure there's a bunch of other information out there that you can look into. If you want to look into these studies, I will link them in the description of this video. As always, how can we make like sober milestones a part of our sustained sobriety, right? Because maybe you do that already and maybe you don't. This is going to sound very millennial of me. If you have social media platforms and you're public about your sobriety, even if you don't consider yourself like a sober influencer or anything like that, I think that it's really beneficial for you and other people to see sober milestones like posted on Instagram and Facebook and whatever else. I know I find it inspiring. I know I also like it when I post it and I get a bunch of support back. But if you're not like a social media person, that's completely cool. Like, more respect to you. Like if that's the case, like at least let the people in your circle know that you have a milestone coming up and try and plan something for it. And if you're really not into like that either, like some people prefer to celebrate their sobriety, it's a more personal thing to them and they'd rather not, you know, like publicize it, like perhaps they like value privacy in their life. Weird. That's you. At least buy yourself a little treat. Take yourself out to dinner, take yourself to a movie, do a little self-care, like a mani-pedi, like do whatever you need to do to solidify the fact that you've done something hard and you have reached a victory point. You've made a lap. Whatever feels like healing for you and celebratory for you, that's going to make you feel good and it's going to help you get to a place where you can be proud of yourself for a minute. Like we don't have to always be in this place of like, oh my God, I'm so amazing, I'm sober. Like I'm not, that's for sure. But every once in a while, like we do deserve to give ourselves like a little pat on the back. Granted, I didn't know why sober milestones were a thing because no one ever really gave me the reasoning behind them, but knowing that they could lead to the benefits that I've mentioned in this video, it makes me a little bit more likely to continue to celebrate them in the future. So hopefully next time I'm doing a celebration or next time I'm doing a sober milestone video, I will have a 4-year coin. That would be pretty dope. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, please like, subscribe, comment. It has been real. It has been fun. It's been real fun. I will see you guys next week. Bye.